And when we're sort of talking about the sort of objective outcomes of the war on terror, and more specifically the war in Afghanistan, it sounds like you're quite clear that there wasn't a net win from this war. That seems like you're ready to say that. And it sounds as though you're saying that we should have a commission to figure out what's going on with the decision making so that we do not repeat these mistakes going forward. Would you be willing to go as far as to call the war on terror illegal?
I guess I would need to do more homework before using a word with that kind of freight behind it. But when the US Inspector General says that the government is lying to the American people about the waging of war, that feels pretty darn illegal to me. I mean, we need to examine that more closely. The word that I am much more, I think, ready to deploy is failure. And that's a hard word for Americans. Americans don't like the idea of failing at war.
But it doesn't have the gravity of illegality. It's oftentimes, sometimes when you look back in history, America after the end of a war, maybe it's Vietnam, you say maybe we made some mistakes, but to go to that next bridge to say not only was the strategy failed strategy, but it also was wrong, morally wrong. That is sort of the next step. Is that something that you would be able to say?
I think our war in Afghanistan was morally wrong. Absolutely. It's wrong to use violence unless you absolutely have to. And we used violence and we didn't absolutely have to. It was a war of choice. I think, and this is what we really need to engage with as a country, is that the deal that we're negotiating right now is the same deal, maybe even a little bit worse, than the United States could have gotten about 6 weeks after 9/11. We spent 2 decades and achieved nothing. And that's immoral when it came at the cost of lives.
Yeah, I believe Brown University, the Watson Institute, said that something like over 100 9/11s worth of civilians across the greater Middle East have been killed during the course of the war from direct combat. It's a really large proportion. And I appreciate acknowledging the size, both in terms of costs financially for the United States, as well as for soldiers like yourself and myself who were there, but also for the other side and the sort of greater sense of empathy.